don't know if I'm allowed to say this on Twitch, but these Christians that I saw in this young adults ministry, the way they were talking about God, I was like, for me, life was just like, nah. Like, there were moments that there were things to look forward to, but the thing is, I never wanted to take my life because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to hell. So I don't know.
Help me welcome to the show for the first time, Drika Will. Let's go. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, I just have to say really quickly.
Yes.
First of all, I love your DJ intro, like the DJing, the mix. I'm here for it. And then you took me out with the unofficial Chick-fil-A
Hey,
sponsorship. I said, did he say unofficially? Okay.
Unofficially. I ain't got money like that, so I'm not trying to get, copyrighted or nothing. You know what I mean?
I'm here for it.
Yes. What up, Jem Smile? And then we got Kamar as well. It sounds like you got I'm pretty sure you got some people in here. I've never seen them before. So shout out to you guys for coming through and showing some love. And show some extra love to us by hitting that follow button too, so you get notifications. But Drika, so I know Nisha, our Twitch coordinator, hooked it up so that you could be here. And I think, shout out, appreciate the follow. Thank you. There's a couple of us who run the IG, and I was just watching the way y'all went back and forth, and I'm like, I feel like we could just all hang out. Like, it just feels like this is a right time to do this interview. So I need everybody to get a feel for your personality. So could you kind of give us a brief overview as to who Drika is?
Okay, I love this question. Talk about myself. Okay, so my name is Drika Will. I'm an artist based here in South Florida. Artist of many talents. I sing a little bit. I'm a photographer, and I'm just an all-around creative. Like, creating is what I do, what I love, and it gets me going. It's my drive, And I think I'm funny sometimes, but
Hey, listen, I'm the best comedian in my car rides. Okay,
you have me rolling. You might be the comedian.
Oh man, so South Florida. So man, there is like a little like CHH hub that I'm noticing in that area. Are you in the area with Dang, now I'm gonna blank out on everybody we've had on the show that's from over there. I know Bianca Love's down there. We got several
might be Central Florida.
Okay. What's the little crew that you rock with? I wanna know more because again, there's several Florida artists that we've interviewed, and so now you being another one, tell us what does that scene look like in your area?
So I did see that y'all interviewed my sister Jessica Soul a couple weeks ago. She was in South Florida, but now she's based in Central Florida. But of course, you got Kamar in the chat, the guy with the V and the A and the name.
The artist thing.
I got his name Kimber. Y'all call him Kimber when y'all see him. It's Kimber. No, it's Kamar. But so we got Kamar. We got Hilltop. I don't know if you know who's a part of. Well, Jack is a part of Hilltop, but you got RIP to our bro Biz. DT, just call me DT. I'm sorry, I gotta say the whole thing. Just call me DT. Jay Sannon, Illish, A Lewis, A Dub. If I miss anybody's name, they're gonna kill me.
I know, that's why I stopped because I was like, oops.
Right, nigga was like, you forgot my name, but yeah, those are like Nat Lauren. She's not a part of Hilltop, but she is, and we're not either, but she's definitely somebody to look out for. That girl is tough. But right now, my immediate mindset, those are the people that come to mind.
Yeah. Okay. That's what's up. That's cool. So, here on Oxen Brand Music, we love to get behind the music stuff, of course, and do artist talk, but we also know that we have a lot of viewers who, rather they catch us here live or even through our YouTubes, that love to hear a lot more than about the music, right? We want to know about the artist. We want to know your journey, your walk, your upbringing, the whys, the hows, of your life. And we like to get all up in there. So whatever you're comfortable sharing tonight, feel free to be as transparent as you would like to. And fun fact, I'm gonna say this because I'm a very proud husband and father of two boys, and my youngest son, 9 years old, just gave his life to Jesus a couple nights ago. And one of the things that I thought was super dope about it is that he even talked about how he, on his own time, watched a clip of an interview that I was doing with a different artist, and how that artist was talking about how they came to know the Lord at an early time, right? Everybody's obviously got a different story, but this one in particular. And he said, he goes, "Well, I wanted to give my life to Jesus early as well." And yeah, yeah, you better believe. Listen, Latinos, we passionate. I was tearing up. I was like, wow, like it rocked me. It rocked me. So we love to hear all the ins and outs. So could you give us your origin story, please?
Ooh, okay. I love origin story. First of all, I think I saw that in the DMs. I was like, ooh, origin story.
Yep.
Okay. I guess first of all, praise God that your son gave his life to the Lord at such an
Amen.
early age. Gonna be lifting up an extra prayer that the Lord keep him all the way in locked in.
Facts.
You're welcome. But it's from my origin story. So I gave my life to the Lord when I was 18 years old. So like fresh out of high school, Jesus
Mm.
snatched me up. So I didn't, I didn't go through like the college wild out season or whatever. Like I was this close. Um, but yeah, like prior to that, um, like I grew up like in Black culture. It's like you're automatically a Christian, or at least that's how it was. I know it's changing
Yep.
now.
Yep.
Growing
Yep.
up, it's like, oh, I'm Black. Of course, I believe in God. Of course, I'm Christian. So it was like the default. But I never had a personal relationship with God. But
Mm.
to be honest, I always wanted to go to church and know God or know more about God or whatever Christianity was.
Yeah.
And I remember getting scared into being a believer a couple times, but I never like made an immediate like I never made a commitment. Like I would delete all the music out of my phone in high school, like
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
bad
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
music, and be struggling like, man, this gospel not hitting the same. Next thing you know, I'm back doing the same things, just
Yeah.
my little high school life. And then but when I got to college, and I had the opportunity to like really go to church because I'd been to church a few times, but it wasn't like enough for me to be like I'm a church kid or I
Right.
understand church culture. So um, I was supposed to go to Bethune Cookman University. Um, like I was a dancer for the marching band.
Okay.
So I did not make the team when I auditioned for
Oh.
Cookman. And I remember, and this is so important because I think if had I gotten into Cookman, I don't know if I would have given my life to the Lord at the time that I did. But
Wow.
yeah, so
Okay, let's slow. So okay, so we got to slow things down. Okay, we are always good to have part twos. So we are going to take our time
let's do
on
it.
this. I don't want to skip over that because you're saying it's a big reason. So
Mhm,
can we backtrack a little bit as to before that, right? Just
mhm,
leading up to that, because here's the thing: it's like yeah, that might have been a domino effect, but there's always a setup, right? Just
yeah,
kind of just like your bars, like there's a setup beforehand that allowed you to be able to say that bar and for it to continue on. So what was going on in your life leading up to that moment before the audition?
So I kind of like I grew up in a verbally abusive household.
Mm,
Still kind of is, but I grew up in like a really toxic setting. Don't recommend, but I
yeah,
ain't have
yeah,
a choice. My family didn't really grow up with much, so I was just looking forward to just getting out of that. To be honest, I guess the biggest highlight for me with all of that was that I didn't know that my life had purpose and meaning.
Ooh,
I know we
sheesh.
hear people say that all the time, but like I for real was like pondering like what is the point of life and being here?
Wow.
And because I had been through so much emotionally and mentally, internally.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on Twitch. I'm not gonna curse or anything, but I used to grow up, cutting myself and like all throughout high school, like
Yeah.
middle school, all the way up until like 11th grade.
Right.
I used to cut myself because I wanted attention and didn't really get it. And for me, life was just like, nah. Like there were moments that there were things to look forward to, but I the thing is, I never wanted to take my life because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna go to hell. So I
Mm.
but I still
Ooh.
just felt very like meh about life, and I kind of was in that headspace, just low self-esteem, all of the things, all of the dark places you could go to mentally, like that
Yeah.
is where I was. But I've always been this like jovial person. I was
Yeah.
always smiling, laughing, cracking jokes, class clown. So people never really saw that, but on the inside, I was like wanting for more. So that's where I was prior.
Wow. So okay. Wow. Whew, okay. That's a lot. I like that you said that you. And by the way, again, as transparent as you want. We don't censor anything live. Like it's if there's anything that we got to cut out, we'll cut out on the back end of stuff. Okay, but raw, authentic, true to yourself, all of that. Um, there are so many times that most people would say that as soon as they see somebody who's cutting, that they want attention. Okay, now I've spoken to many that I've known personally in my life, even some students who would have actually kind of said otherwise. Like, no, I was trying my best to make sure you didn't know or see. So for you to say that, what was it? Was it the fact that you were wanting someone to kind of feel empathy for you? Like what attention were you wanting?
I guess, as a kid, I didn't know what it was, but
Yeah.
I just wanted somebody to, I guess, yeah, like empathize with me and
Mm,
tell me they see me.
yeah.
Because even with how I branded myself now as an artist, call myself black sheep, and my thing is to speak to other people who feel like they're black sheep as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even within being a Christian, because that was a whole nother conversation. But
Yeah.
you know, my thing was like I always felt overlooked,
Mm,
unheard, misunderstood. You know how it goes, with that narrative. But
yeah.
really feeling like you don't have a voice, always being at the bottom, um, and yeah, being made fun of, bullied, all that stuff. So just really struggling to fit in, and I didn't start to question it until I got older,
Mm-hmm.
which was like after I got saved. But I was like, "God, why did you make me this way? Like, why do I like view life this way or speak this way?"
Mm, yeah.
Because it's causing me to be ostracized in certain spaces. So yeah, I just wanted somebody to feel for me, and I think there was only one person that knew I was cutting. It was my younger sister, and she was like looking at me like, "Are you good? Like, are you about to
Yeah.
take the next step?"
Right. Right.
So yeah.
So with the understanding that you didn't come to know Christ till a little bit after, right? And that's where you're able to kind of think through stuff.
Yeah.
So what was it for you before you came to Christ? Like, what did keep you going then, right? Because most times people would say, oh, God kept me, and it was the fact that the church was there for me, or my grandma who always prays for me, like stuff like that. So, like for you, what was it that kept you going, even though it was BC, right, for you?
For me, the arts, being a part of marching band and being a dancer in the marching band, even though there were, some bullying happening there too,
Yeah.
there still was like this sense of fulfillment,
Mm,
being able to like find another outlet to express myself through my passions and stuff like that. So, I was also on the choir. So like community and spaces, like community is the key.
got you.
But
Okay.
yeah, definitely community. So I joined the choir at my high school because my band director, he was like, "Look, dancers, if you guys want to march, y'all gotta play an instrument or y'all gotta sing." And I was like, "I can hold a little note, so I'm gonna go
I
to
got
the
a little note.
choir." Little did you know, like I lived out my, I'm not gonna lie, I lived out my dreams of being able to like get a good solo at and sing the national anthem
Hey,
at my
okay,
graduation.
okay.
So yeah, like moments like that,
Yeah.
for me in high school were like moments to live for. So
So okay, so then let's talk about that real quick. Then if you're okay, sometimes, not all, but sometimes those who are kind of seeking that validation are typically isolated one way or the other, right? From their own family, maybe they're the outcast at school, like whatever, right? there normally seems to be kind of they're in the shadows, even in amongst their peers. But you're kind of a little bit different because you are performing, right? You are in front of people. You are a part of communities. You are doing certain things. So, um, were you feeling still kind of an emptiness, like you were still not being seen, even though you had moments that you were being seen, or what was that moment of being seen kind of like a high that went away and you felt lower when it was gone?
That's a good question. Um, because specifically, I could say for choir,
Mm-hmm.
some and it was I will say that there was a lot of Christians in the choir, and they just were like some really cool people. Um, that felt like a safer space versus like the dance scene. Like with dance, there was more bullying and
Mm,
being told you're ugly and all this stuff. And I was
yeah.
always getting the short end of the stick. I remember the dancers, they bought some outfits. Well, we all chipped in and put our money in to buy outfits. And like the person, the mentor girl who went to go pick up the outfits for us,
Yeah.
she didn't like, apparently they didn't have enough tops in the sizes that we wore. So when all the girls grabbed their tops,
Yeah.
they didn't
Yeah.
have one for me. So they like cut up this shirt and all the girls had these like put together leotards, and I had this like choppy,
Yeah.
raggedy shirt until we
Yeah.
got our official uniforms. It was pretty embarrassing. So
Yeah.
there
I
were like there were safe spaces, and then it was like a half and half type thing for me. I hope
got
that
you. Okay.
answers. Yeah.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I've been a dancer for as long as I can remember, and obviously got friends in the community, stuff like that. So even what you're saying, I've seen that before on others. And being a gymnastics coach, like anytime we do certain things, and it is that thought that you have to have. You're like, dang, like if we don't have enough of these, then we can't do it for everybody because we know it's going to single out this one girl, and so I definitely can understand that. So you had that going into this audition, of which that you did not make. So and now at this point, this was after you've accepted Christ, correct?
No,
Okay.
so yeah, it's a domino effect. So and I like to start there because I'm like, yeah, had I gone to this college, I wouldn't have given my life to Christ. So
Gotcha. Right.
basically,
Right.
I don't make the team, and the girl who's like helping run the auditions,
Mm-hmm.
as she's like telling us goodbye, all the ones who didn't make it, I'm like on the verge of crying. I think, yeah, I am crying at this point, and she's like, "You guys don't have to hate the school. You guys don't have to leave the school. You can still stay." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, I can leave the school." So I said, I'm gonna do community college locally. I'm not paying these university prices. So I
Facts.
ended up going, yeah, I ended up going to community college, and my best friend at the time, she gets invited to a church
Mm-hmm.
from someone who we went to school with at college.
Mm-hmm.
So they invite us to a church, like, well, actually, prior to that, my birthday came around, my 18th birthday came around. I'm a summer baby, August. Somebody
Yeah.
asked, if you were to die today, do you think you would go to heaven or hell? And I said
Mm.
heaven, but in my head, I was like, I'm going to hell. Like, I was like, I knew I was going to hell, but I was like, I don't know how to fix it.
Oh, 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 dang. Ooh, that's good. That's good right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So then a few months later, in February, we get invited to the church, and she got invited, and my friend was like, "Do you want to come with me?" And I was like, "Ooh, yeah, I've always, wanted to go to church and stuff like that."
Yeah.
And I kid you not, so we didn't really get to go to the service until like the main service until the third week in.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, the first couple weeks I went to the young adult service, and I had seen Christians, like I have friends who are believers that I've known since I was 15,
Yeah.
but I was like, because they was too busy being overly zealous teenagers, like trying to change the rules. And I'm like, get out my face. But these Christians that I saw in this young adults ministry, the way they were talking about God, I was like, I want that. I was like, what? How,
Wow.
like, I was like, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just continued to just sit under them and be in awe. And I'm like, man, I want that. Like every week, I just was like, I want that.
Yeah.
And then it was one Sunday, my pastor, he preached about a message about taking Jesus seriously. And I don't
Mm.
remember the details of the sermon,
Mhm.
but I just remember like my heart being so heavy. And at the time, I didn't realize it, but that was conviction kicking in. And it
Mhm.
was like this, and maybe this is true or not, but in my mind, it felt like, okay, if I don't give my life to God right now, this is it. Like, I don't have no other option. And I don't
Wow.
know if I would have had another option after that. I don't know what my life would have been like because I wasn't wilding. I wasn't in the streets or doing anything. I was just literally questioning my life like,
Right.
all right, I'm not gonna be an artist. I can't do this singing thing anymore. So just screw it all. Like life is lame, boring. There's no purpose. And then boom, um, I get home that night because the message is like pounding on my heart all day. And I
Mm.
was like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I got up, went to the bathroom, I cried, and I gave my life to Jesus. And I said, Lord, I don't know what following you looks like. I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but I want to spend the rest of my life with you. So let's.
Hey, come on. Come on. That's it's just listen, you ain't got to overcomplicate giving
No.
your life to Jesus, okay? People try to romanticize that like they do relationships, like they do
Mhm.
marriage and stuff like that. Like, oh no, I gotta, this the right song's gotta be on, and I gotta like be sweating from my head to my toes, and it just they paint this big thing, and I love that. I love the simplicity of I don't even know what's going on, God, but I know I want you to be a part of it. That's encouraging to someone who might hear this and go, "Oh, so like I didn't have to have like quote unquote like faith, like sold out faith." You know what I mean? Like because like we understand as believers how faith kind of works, and there's a spectrum within the faith, right?
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, and I could be wrong, okay, but I feel like there's some people who are hesitant to give their life to Christ because they feel like they have to have it figured out, not to have God figured out, but that they have to like know without unreasonable doubt that this is exactly the truth, and from here on out, I will always live my life like that. And that's, I mean, that's cool, but I think sometimes, and gosh, even my story, and I'm not going to get into it, but like like you, it's just like, hey, listen, I know what I've seen, I know what I'm feeling, and I know how my life has been thus far.
Right.
I don't know what's going on, but can you be a part of it, Jesus? Like, can we do this together? I think that's so beautiful to even hear that from you. So thank you for sharing that for sure.
Thank you for asking. Like, I love sharing my testimony because I'm just like, yo, this is like the best part of my life. So please let me share it.
Yeah, facts. Yes, yes. Okay, so you give your life to Christ, right? You do that on your own, but you are still a part of this church community, and you're noticing there's some real Christians. Rather people say one way or the other, you're noticing there is some serious stuff going on here.
Yeah.
Question: what is next? Because sometimes it becomes a comparison battle. It becomes like there's so many different things that kind of happen when you're getting into the faith, and you all of a sudden come into this culture where there's these unwritten rules that you didn't know about. Like I can't talk a certain way, I can't listen a certain way, I shouldn't hang with a certain people. Like there's, you know what I mean, like it kind of it can almost be too much sometimes, for someone. So for you, walk that out for us. How was that after you ended up giving your life to Christ?
Yeah. Um, Ooh, you basically just said like a small portion of like what I went through.
Okay, all right, let's go.
So that first year, I was still, I guess you could say, yeah, I was still one fit. I was in like a relationship, and I didn't want to give the relationship up. I was like, no, God, I can get him saved. Like, I don't.
Ah,
You should
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Yeah, I felt the conviction from the Holy Spirit like intensely the first few months of me being saved, and
Hmm.
I was sending text messages like I feel like I could jump off the clouds. Like, oh, I just love this Jesus thing. Like, this is amazing, and I'm trying to get this dude saved, and it's not working out. And the relationship got
Yeah,
a little physical at one point, so we eventually like cut ties halfway through, and
yeah,
then I was still struggling with some sins in my life like afterwards.
yeah.
But then I it the big thing for me was the baptism, because I was like, oh, that's a big step. I don't know why it was such a big step, but it was a huge
Hey,
step.
listen. Let's not like breeze right over that. It
Yeah,
is. It really is a big step, like communion as well as baptism. Like even though outwardly it just seems like but you getting your hair dipped, you just boop boop right, you go in and out, and then you're done. But spiritually, there's so much more to it, and it's one of those things that you just can't really explain until somebody goes through it. So yes, don't breeze over that. Like it is okay that you felt that like yo, this is serious because and here's what I love about that. Okay, here's what I love about that. It already showed how quick you were to understand the weight of what it means to be a Christ follower.
yeah,
And most people don't even allow themselves to sit and think about it long enough until they're further along, and then they're all of a sudden like, is this even real anymore, right? Like they don't even know. So I love that. Okay, so baptism about to start happening. How let's keep going from there.
okay, yeah. So I remember putting off my baptism for like almost a whole year. So I got
Yeah,
baptized in December of 2014. So I got saved in March of 2014, and then I got baptized in December of 2014.
yeah,
And once I got baptized, I was like, all right, God, no more of this 1 foot in crap. Like, I'm serious. Like, let me
yeah.
serve, let me join a life group. So I went in, and I was and have been faithful to the Lord since then. I didn't have a praise God, Lord, keep me whole.
Keep me.
But I haven't had like a season of backsliding or,
Yeah.
wilding out. But I will say, plot twist, I did go through a deconstruction as
Okay.
well.
All right,
In
we're
my
gonna have to unpack that here in a moment. So yes, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But yeah, but that happened like post pandemic.
Hmm.
So the thing is, like what you said earlier, you have these people who are giving their life to the Lord. They just want Jesus,
Right.
and they just want to follow God, honor God with their life. So I was like a sponge. Whatever was given to me,
Hmm.
unfortunately, I wasn't using the critical thinking skill. I just was like, okay, whatever my pastors say, whatever the leaders say,
Yeah.
okay, this person's been a Christian longer than I have, so whatever they say, and
It must be
um,
right.
yeah,
He
no,
on
literally,
stage. He might
I'm like,
must be right.
right. So I'm gonna do it. Yo, I I don't that I feel like that would require a part two for me to unpack like how I basically ended up in a cult at one point in my church,
Woo. Okay.
um, and got out of it, and how God, like, with everything every bit of deception that I've walked into, the
Wow.
Lord has miraculously gotten me out of it. And it wasn't like another person came and got me out. It's literally like, no, the scales just will fall off.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
way God just worked things out, I can't explain it. But yeah, I've had moments where I've even the bullying thing just comes back up, and it's just like a recurring pattern. I'm like, God, why you keep allowing me to go through this same thing over
Yeah.
and over again in the church? I'm like, these Christians and they over here bullying. What is going on?
Yeah.
So, and even my uniquenesses. So God used those moments of being bullied and being mistreated or feeling like a black sheep, even within the body of Christ,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
highlight my uniquenesses and what's peculiar about me, and how it can impact somebody else's life. And I've had so many people since I've like started my artist journey just reach out and consistently point out the same things, like, and they'll appreciate the fact that I'm open and transparent about certain things in my walk with God, simply because it's helping them. Because
Yeah.
a lot of times we get into these communities and these spaces in the church, and there's like classism, elitism, everybody just trying to
All the
be
isms.
all the
All
isms,
the
and
isms.
it's like, yo, people in here just genuinely want Jesus, and y'all are making it 80 times harder. And,
Yes.
like, I didn't say the sinner's prayer. I ain't had nobody forcing me down at the altar to give to give my life to God. Like, I just, and granted, I've had my fallout moments in church too.
Right.
I didn't have anyone forcing that. Like, every moment that I've had with the Lord that has been so special and genuine that nobody can take away from me. Like,
Yeah.
those moments are the moments that I clung on to when I started to deconstruct. Um, uh, which is, I don't know if you want to go there yet, Or
Yeah, no, we definitely can't. I do want to kind of touch base a little bit about just that last part that you said, where sometimes the people within the church make it hard for those who are just there for Jesus to know more about Jesus, right? And it sucks, right? It sucks, but it's also a reminder to everyone, because people still have this picture in their head, like, yes, as Christians, should we be more loving? Absolutely. Should we be the ones who have the most grace for people? Yeah, absolutely. But we're still human, right? There are imperfect people who are learning about a perfect God, right? Who are trying to get in their word and actually know the word for themselves, and not just be, told these things. And you find out later on during a deconstruction that you're like, oh, never mind. Like, there's issues. So I think if there's anything for me that I would wish people would kind of be more transparent as Christians speaking to non or those who are questioning or whatever, is to just be straight up and just say, hey, yeah, no, there's a lot of us who suck, okay, but we are no different than everyone else who sucks. If you're a Democrat, you got some really stupid Democrats. You're a Republican, you got some really stupid Republicans. Like, it doesn't matter what group, what part of the nation that you're in or whatever. Like, there's always, first off, bad representations, right, of it. But then there's always on the same token, on the same side, on the other side, there are great representations, and I don't know why. I truly don't know. I'm gonna ask this question to you. Why do you think people are able to give this grace to a restaurant? Oh, they gave me something I didn't really like or whatever. They had a bad attitude or whatever. But hey, you know what? It's the next weekend. Hey, the weather's good. Y'all want to go back out to Texas Roadhouse? You want to go back out to, you know what I mean? Like, people won't mind going back to certain things. But if a Christian says or does something wrong, all of a sudden people are like, ah, man, forget God. Like, why do you think there's some grace for that stuff, but when it comes to anything about God, people are just ready to cut it off?
That's you asked me a heavy question. Um, mm. First I thought it was going another way, so I was gonna say something else. I was like, oh no.
No, okay, go for it. However you process it. Listen, I kind of just be talking, so however.
Nah, you saying some good stuff. You're asking some really great questions. I want to say part of it is definitely okay. If you're talking about non-believers
Mm-hmm.
and people who aren't Christians, like they haven't professed their faith, um, I would say for them, a lot of it has to do with like culture,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's because what they're saying sometimes is not off about some of the negative things we see with
Mm-hmm.
the Christians, us Christians. I said the Christians with us Christians. But
No,
then
that's how when somebody's like, hey, that's your friend over there. It's like, no, that's not my friend. That is not my friend.
that ain't
Okay,
me.
that
I
is
ain't
our
talking.
friend. That we know who that person is.
Oh yeah, a lot of it. I think a good portion of it is how the like actual experiences that people have had because us as believers, we've even had some of those experiences within the body of Christ. But
Yes.
then I think another part of it is I don't want to say this, but I think for some people it is it's an excuse or a way to justify them just staying where they're at because how many times do we as Christians like the Lord is confronting us on maybe it's not sin, maybe it is sin, or maybe certain areas of our life that He wants to confront us in, but
Yeah.
we're like making all of the excuses like, well, XYZ, so I can't do this, or
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't let this go because this is happening in my life. Like if somebody's addicted to whatever kind of sin they're stuck
Mm-hmm.
in or they're stuck in bondage to it,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, I'm going through this in my life, so I'm leaning on this. So
Mm.
I guess I would say I think part of it for some people is, well, if I allow you in and I'm vulnerable, then you're gonna confront these other parts of my life, because that's a whole nother thing too, like counting the cost. Like, if you want to follow Jesus, you gotta confront some things. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. No, and what's so cool about what you're talking about too is, so here in a couple of weeks, I'm DJing a camp, um, in Oklahoma. So I'm here in Illinois. I'm going to Oklahoma, and they asked me to speak. And long story short, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about. I didn't really feel like I was going to talk. And then as I was talking to another friend of mine, all of a sudden, in my mind, I kid you not, the only phrase that came up in my mind was reasons not to be a Christian, right? And it
Mm,
sounds weird. You about to go to a Christian camp, right? And go speak to these kids. But the thought process behind that, and that you're kind of helping me kind of unpack a little bit more. It just keeps popping in my mind. So I really feel like this is definitely timely that we have this conversation. But in a sense, the angle that I want to go at is if you really are saying that you want to follow Christ, here's what comes with it, right? Here are the different things that you have to deal with and that you got to put up with and that you got to wrestle through and the love what you just said, that you have to count the costs of what it takes to even wear the jersey. I mean, you think again in any sport term or whatever, like there are certain teams that you're like when you look at that jersey, you're like, oh, that means something, right? That team, they put in work. They are known for this. They also are known to not be messing around, right? And so I feel like again, back to what you were talking about with your baptism, there's some weightiness to it that you're like, no, like this, there's a lot more to this. And so for you to even talk like that, it's just kind of making me think about that. So what are some quick things? Because I do want to get into the deconstruction, and then we're of course gonna get into the Oxen Spotlight of your song as well. But um, what do you feel like when it comes to trying to get people to understand what it takes to be a Christian or that counting the cost for you? How would you kind of define that for somebody? What would you tell them? Like, man, this is kind of this is the weightiness that kind of comes with this because there is some weight. Like you said, there's definitely some weight with this.
oh, man, the good questions. You just they gotta change your name to DJ Good Questions. I know that was so lame.
Hey, I like to. I think a lot, man. I think a lot.
Man, what does that look like? I would say for me, I think I'll just go based off of like personal experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because obviously, if you're not a believer, you don't know what those you just have a general like, and I mean like far fetched understanding of the things you're gonna have to lay down.
Yeah.
But to say that I'm gonna like, because before I thought, oh, I had to lay down the secular music in my playlist,
Right.
and God is like, no, I need you to like lay it all down. Lay down what you think life is,
Mm.
or it's gonna be or supposed to be. Because from my understanding, and from what I remember,
Yeah.
I counted the cost, but I was like, I don't care. I don't care what it takes because I see a I hate to say great value because it's Walmart, but I see a greater value.
Wait a minute. Hold on, hold on. The fact that you just said that reference is such a serious conversation. I love that. Thank you.
Right.
Oh, you're amazing. I appreciate you. Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
It's such I see a greater value um in a return on what I'm gonna get like after I give my
Yes.
life. Like if that's what talking to God looks like, then fine, I'll lay down whatever I have to lay down. So um I think yeah, I think ultimately at first it's gonna be a thing of you don't know what it is that you're gonna have to lay down because even today, as a believer, I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary with Jesus next year.
Hey, okay, okay. Let's go.
Love that. So even almost 10 years later, there's still things that I'm having to lie down and they're more
Mm,
subtle things. They're not like the big obvious sins anymore, but
mm-hmm.
even in the subtle small things, like it it doesn't always feel good because my
Yes.
like natural inclinations is to just be that way or have this type of mentality or have this
Yes.
type of attitude. So I don't think you're gonna know what you're giving up. It's just literally like, do you want this over here? Like,
Yeah.
type of thing. So
Yeah. That's it. You want Popeyes or Chick-fil-A, okay? Just make it that
right.
simple, right? It's just one or the other. So
You're gonna give up
Oh.
that price, but you're gonna get better. You're gonna get a better meal over here.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Oh man. Okay. So let's get into it because I this will be a good stopping point, and then we'll get into your song. Right. We'll wrap up the conversation. We'll definitely have to do a part two for sure. But I do want to get into your deconstruction that you were talking about. So you are going through this life. You have some verbal abuse stuff, right? Some definitely not loving, accepting, willing, space of which that you were growing up, that you felt that you were, being able to be flourished in. Then you're dealing with bullies, from different ways and whatnot, with the dance community and everything else. Seeing some highs, seeing some lows in your life, right? Having moments where you get to do some cool stuff, and then there's some moments where that cycle of being made fun of, or whatever, outcasted, being that black sheep, keeps kind of coming up, right? Then you come to know Christ, and you give your life to Christ, and you did it on just simply what faith, how we would describe it as, is just like faith, like a child. You're like, listen, I don't know God, but this is what I've heard about you. This is what I feel like I know about you. Let's make it true. Like let's do this. Now you get into this walk. You start to kind of figure out that there's a little bit more to it, and there's some other things there, and then you get to this point where you kind of have to deconstruct a little bit. Let's talk us through that.
Yeah, so the deconstruction experience was a little scary because I could say that, like, I think I started to deconstruct right before, like, everybody and their mama was just deconstructing
Before it
during
was
the pandemic.
cool, before it was cute, before it was
Before it
cute
was
for everybody.
cute to deconstruct, you know,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
already like struggling.
yeah.
So, yeah, like I just remember 2020 happens. It's a pandemic. Like, let me tell you, I think out of between 2015 and
Mm-hmm.
2020,
Mm.
I probably missed 5 days of church.
Wow, that's a record.
That's a problem. But
That's
and just in being there, like there were seasons where I was in church 5 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week.
dang.
As a student, as a sister, and I say as a sister because I was helping my mom with my sister who was premature when she was
Mm.
born and stuff like that. My dad's around, but he a man, so whatever that looks like. But
Understood. Understood.
so just I'm just there being like mom number two and helping her. So all that's happening, and I'm still going to church. Family member passes away. First time our family is experiencing like a death of someone close.
Wow.
Again, still like I remember my grandfather passed away.
Mhm.
Still showed up to church the next day because I was like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
Like,
Right.
it became like, yes, I was doing this unto the Lord because I wanted to be faithful, but my faithfulness began to be something tied to works, and I didn't realize it. I thought like you could really have the best intentions
Yep.
but just be operating in the wrong spirit.
Yeah.
And that was me for a long time, but I didn't know it. And then so you have that, then you have the church hurt stuff, and it's not like I'm not spending time with God. It's not like I'm not praying. Like I'm in my Bible. I'm praying. I'm reading. I'm praying for hours. I'm fasting. Like one
Yeah.
thing my church did, they gonna fast.
Yeah.
You gonna go on a fast, okay? At least twice that year. So I'm doing all of the things. I'm in community. I'm a life group leader. I'm on the dance ministry. I'm the media team leader for the young adults ministry of a mega church or a mini mega church,
Oh,
whatever
you
you
doing it
call it.
all.
So you can just imagine, like, all right, you gonna deconstruct if you're doing all of that. You're not resting.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Burnout.
I didn't know I was burnt out. I was like, so what is, because they would talk about burnout, and this angle, no shade to them, but it's like y'all are the same ones preaching about people being burnt out, but you got young adults serving who are burnt out, and it's like, come on, y'all got to say something. Somebody got to sit me down and say, Rodriga,
That's that's it. Somebody should be aware. Somebody has got to have their finger on that pulse, because there are people who they just feel like they're just naturally wired to go. And unless somebody says you better sit your butt down, then it's like, oh, you're right. Maybe I should. So that's
yeah.
right. That's true.
I was gone, and by the time we got right before the pandemic, we had some changes in ministry, so we had new leadership
Yeah.
shifting. So and I had begun to step down from my role. I was like, okay, I really feel like God is like convicting me to step out of this role of media team, which I did not even want to do. I just did it because they had a need, and I was
Mm.
asking, "Hey, can I do worship?" And that part two one day. But
Yeah. Yeah.
long story short, so that all leads up to my deconstruction, and the deconstruction happened around the time George Floyd was murdered, and
Yeah.
there was just a lot of stuff coming up with race in the church, and just like, "Ooh, why are you saying that? I thought, hold up, God, what is going on? Why are these people talking like this?"
Yep. Yep.
It
Yep.
just was a chaotic time, and then the election, chaotic year. So
Yeah.
by the time I get to the end of 2020, that's when like everything I thought I knew in my faith, I just started questioning it.
Mm.
Because if these people that I thought were supposed to care about me and care for my soul are being this way, and this is what they think of me, and this is what they think of members of the church, and
Yeah. Yeah.
just a lot of things that just like it's like it's like the Jenga thing. If
Yep.
you don't have a firm foundation, it's gonna fall somewhere. Or you could
Yep.
start out with a firm foundation, but there's one thing I will say: my foundation has always been the same. So I didn't like. No offense if there's any Christians in here that are progressive Christians. I did not deconstruct to like any progressive Christianity doctrine,
Yeah.
but I did deconstruct down to my testimony. Like,
Woo! I like that. Say that
yeah.
again. You what?
I I deconstructed down to my testimony.
Mm.
Yeah. I
Mm.
questioned and I pulled apart everything that I thought I knew, and everything that was there was like secondary. Some things were debatable, and
Yeah.
you know, the Lord gave me answers for some things, and then there's some things I'm just like, whatever, God, I will figure it out one day.
Yeah.
Or maybe we won't. I don't care. But it's not gonna determine or deter my faith. Like, so I've been reconstructing over the last few years into a healthier faith.
Amen.
And yeah, I was like, my biggest prayer during that time was Lord, keep me. I just want to be
Yeah.
kept by you, because I'm not
Yes.
gonna deny that I found peace in you. I've
Wow.
had amazing and incredible experiences with God, and those moments were real. Those moments can be backed up by scripture. And it's just like a lot of it was tied to people too. Um, just taking on the word. Oh, that was a huge conviction that I had been feeling for like 2 years
Yeah.
prior to the pandemic, but I just didn't understand. Like, my thing was, the Lord was trying to show me like you care too much about what people think about you, to
Mm.
the point where like you allow opinions to weigh you down. And one of the leaders, yeah, I came from a charismatic church, so just relax, okay? One of the
Good.
leaders, she just was saying she was seeing me in the spirit being like weighed down by like a chain of people's opinions. And
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
time I didn't get it, but it made so much sense a couple years later,
Wow.
and it was spot on. And once I began to give all of that to God and just like
Mm-hmm.
completely break and allow him to strip me the last few years,
Mm-hmm.
um, I've just been so at peace and so secure and grounded in who I know God to be,
Yeah.
and the core, like the heart of what it means to follow Jesus, and that's to stand on the gospel. So yeah, y'all.
Man, right. The core of it. Oh man. Oh, I love that. I love that. I all the way back to my testimony. Man. Oh, we definitely for sure going to clip that. We definitely going to clip that. Man, I love that, and I know we're running out of time, but we definitely are going to have to run it back. There's so much more I know to you, and I've just been so blessed already, and encouraged by what you've been talking about as well too. So again, with the story of my youngest son too, like this is all so really fresh. Where it's like, I'm wanting to learn through Drika what it was to come to know Christ, and the processes and everything and the deconstruction and it's and being a coach, I tend to find like I tend to almost complicate things where I try so hard so that no one else has to figure it out the hard way. You know
Me
what I
too.
mean? So to say, even just hear your story about how there's some like relief for me, like, hey, you ain't got to do it. You ain't got to do it. I'm a rock who I'm going to rock. Okay, right? The Holy Spirit is gonna do what He does and does far better than
Come on.
anybody else could ever do. So I love
Yes.
that. Well,
Yes.
I wanna get into our Oxen Brand Spotlight portion, where we get a chance to hear personally from the artist about their song, and this song specifically is called "Broward Baby." Could you please unpack just kind of meaning behind it first off? Because I did almost Google it, and I was like, I'll just let her explain it to me. Just tell us about that song, kind of the heart behind the lyrics and everything else.
So Briar Baby is just, I was like, I want to do something that like, show some hometown love because people love to, immediately associate South Florida with Miami only.
Yeah,
And we're
yeah.
like next door neighbors to Miami. Miami's still family too, but I'm
I
not
see what
from
you're saying.
Miami. I'm from Broward. Okay. So, a lot of greatness has come out of Broward and is still coming out of Broward. So I wanted to kind of
Praise
just
God.
have a moment where me, Nat, she's also from Broward, A Dub is also from Broward, where we just show a little hometown love, like have some fun with it. And I kind of want to use it as a tool to kind of like, reel in some of the people in my
Yeah.
city.
Yep.
So yeah, with like the hook is catchy. So they could sing along to it. Like everybody else is probably like, what are all these numbers she's throwing out? But they're like area codes that are local, so they're gonna catch on. That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. But in the first well, yeah, it's only me and Nat on the song. So we just are both pretty much just sharing like, yeah, we're Broward babies, and this is where the Lord has brought us from.
Mm,
Just like a touch of our testimony and who we were before and how we're
yeah.
not going back to the former days and the old life and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a fun track then. It's a
yeah,
fun track.
I'm
I love
serious.
it. I love it. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know what it is. It is time for the Oxen Brand Spotlight portion, where we're gonna check out the song in its entirety right here live, and make sure you guys fire off in the chat. Let her know what you guys thinking about it. So again, this is Drika Will featuring Nat Lauren and A Dub, uh, called Broward Baby. Let's go. Hey, there it is right there, ladies and gentlemen. Broward, baby, holding it down in Florida, not just for the 305, although they are the homies there as well. I like that. I like that. Man, and that looked like y'all just had such a fun time.
We did nothing but laughs, nothing but laughs.
Now, I do gotta ask, what was up with the mask? The homie with the mask. What?
I'm not gonna lie.
Because that
So
came out of nowhere. I'm just watching. I was like, whoa, what's he doing?
So I was watching it too. The funny thing is, I edited the video, shot it on my phone, and I've seen the video like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And I ain't gonna lie, I was trying so hard not to laugh. The mask came out. I'm like, what in the world? Why does it look like that? Or like, why? Like, it caught me off guard when he came on the screen with the mask. But basically, like, gold teeth
Yeah.
and mask, like ski masks and stuff like that, is like a Broward a cultural thing you'll see down here,
Okay.
you know. So yeah,
Okay.
that's
All
what
right.
it
So
was. Just wanted to add elements.
gotcha. So now I know if the next time I get flown out to Florida, if we in that area, I'll bring my mask.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're gonna fit right in.
Oh man, that's cool. Man, again, thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful chopping it up with you. Your heart, the joy that you have. Oh, okay. So shout out to Nisha who she couldn't hold herself
Right.
back.
I was like,
So
let me.
we have little if you are a part of the Twitch culture, there's different things that we have here where you can activate with some what's called viewer reward points. And so sometimes in the middle of the interview and sometimes in the most serious moments, they be putting stuff on my face like this. on there. So shout out Nisha. She just wanted to show you how we have a good time here as well. So um, needed to at least get one in. Yeah, right. So no, I loved it. I loved our time. I love your heart. I can definitely tell that you're also really intentional. I think that's again, that's the part that I just latched on to the most during when we talk about the baptism is that I'm like, man, like that's you just don't find that, right? You just don't. There aren't that many people who really understand the weightiness of it. Again, even just the weightiness of communion. Like sometimes people just doing stuff just to do stuff. In fact, again, back to my son. My wife was talking about okay, possibly baptism. Get him in this like class or whatever. I said, here, listen, I don't mind doing a class thing or whatever, even though we can explain it here as parents too. But whatever, okay. But here's what I don't want. I don't want him to just say yes to it because he's in a group of people who are saying this is why we're here and we're going to do it. I want him to truly understand too. And so again, I'm encouraged by your story where you're like, nah, I put that mug off for. I'm not saying that I'm gonna make him put it off, of course, but I love that. I love that you didn't just go ahead and do it. And I don't know why, and maybe it'll be well after the stream that I understand for myself why it was that. So, but I love what you're doing out there. Question, I do got a question, especially because even though we were joking around with the homie with the mask, Ada as well. Um, how have you been received in the Christian culture? Because again, we talked about earlier about some unwritten rules, right? How you got to kind of look a certain way, and if you look opposite or if you look like you're doing too much, then you can kind of be in question. All of a sudden, your faith is questioned because you want to dress a certain way, take pictures a certain way, like just again, all those like little unwritten rules. So, how have you been received so far in your uh, walk in this Christian market?
So far, to be honest, I think I haven't seen any pushback
Yeah,
on the look yet. We'll see what happens as we get deeper in.
right.
But
Stay
I've
out the
always
comment sections. Just stay out the comment section. I'm gonna let you know right now. Just stay out the comment sections.
the thing is, I did stir up some. I stirred up some talk earlier this year with a certain video topic on my YouTube channel that probably was the most pushback I got, but I
Okay.
haven't really got anything from the look. I've gotten pushback from other. There's probably Christians that probably say stuff offline because
Hmm.
I've heard. I remember I wore like a darker, just a short story. I wore like a dark red lipstick when I was about to dance one time, and this lady was like, "You're about to worship the Lord. Put on something bright." I was like, "But it doesn't look good on me." So,
Awesome.
so yeah,
Light up your lips and face for the Lord. What?
yeah. I was like, that's not my style. So
Yeah.
yeah, nothing yet. We'll see.
Gotcha.
You'll be the first person. I'll be like, here's the first one, right here, integrity, right here.
Hey, I'll come through. Hey, listen, I'll make a reaction video right away to it. Could you see how this person? They must have not watched our interview. You need to make.
I still love the Lord. Like,
And again, honestly, that's why I love to do what I do. Here with my team on Oxen Brand Music is, um, if somebody just watched the video, they could have so many preconceived notions, right? They could just the assumptions could go just all over the place. Um, and I don't think here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that like we can't use judgment. We use judgment all day every day, right? Like, ooh, that person, I don't know if I want to walk right next to them right now. Like, I'm not too comfortable, right? Like, I'm not saying that, but sometimes people are so quick to latch on to that first feeling and that first thought instead of giving that moment to be able to go, okay, why don't I hear, right? Why don't I hear? Like, it's kind of like driving. Like, all of a sudden, once you get on the road, everyone else is a horrible driver and you're the best driver in the world and
I
nobody else
really
knows
need
what's going
this
on.
right.
So, it just, I'm thankful to be able to have this opportunity to be able to again hear your heart. To hear that even as you're just navigating, through this walk and continuing to reconstruct and continuing to build even on a more solid foundation, and to have people around you who are also intentional about discipleship and everything else. I know we didn't get into it, but you can't have the heart that you have without being around that. Like that just doesn't that's not a thing. And so shout out to you and shout out to everybody who is effectively and intentionally pouring into your life. And we're excited. We're excited to see what the Lord is going to do with you and through you. And I can already tell that you light up a room, when you get in there and get to smiling and, having fun and stuff. And so I thank you. I just really, from the bottom of my heart, I love when I can tell that someone genuinely just loves the Lord and, and they're just trying to figure it out and they're going to keep walking through it, and just know that at the end of the day, I got to figure it all out. Jesus got me, and I like that.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you again so much for being on the show. Shout out to everybody in the chat who came through, also for Drika. As you guys have seen throughout the whole interview, there's been links in there. Please make sure that you guys follow her on all social media platforms. Of course, you can go to the website as well. That can lead you to everything else, and her YouTube, because of course now I'm curious, so I'm definitely going to be chopping in to see what's going on over there. But do you have anything coming up here, especially summertime? Any kind of either shows or other music that's coming out?
Yeah. So actually, the two songs that I've released so far, I'm kind of doing like this waterfall method. I'm like, I have a project. It is called Black Sheep. So all the songs that are being released this summer, it's like 6 or 7. Um, they are a part of that project. So we're in the Black Sheep season right now. So stay tuned for that. And the goal is to be outside all season, perform, press, all the things. So all things Drika will. Stay tuned and come on through.
Hey, that's it. Well, hey, thank you so much, and we'll definitely have to run it back. But yeah, we're definitely praying for you. We're definitely praying for you. I love that you just kept going back to the words "keep." That keep me, right? Just keep me, and I feel like that's just a good word for all of us. That, hey, listen, Lord, could you just keep me, and whatever it is that I'm doing and that you got me doing, like, just keep me. All right. So especially in the time of which that we live in right now, there's so much going at us. There's so much going against us. There's so much us going against us. And,
Right.
I think that's just a perfect prayer to pray that, Lord, just keep me. I don't know. Just keep me. I love that. So, but all right, well, I'm going to let you go. Have a good night, and we'll definitely stay in touch for sure.
Thank you as well.
Yes, adios. Hey, if you liked any of this content and you found some value in it, make sure that you like, subscribe, and of course, share it. Also, if you're interested in some more, go ahead and check out these videos. Till next time, grace and peace. Adios.